All right, we're live.
Hello.
Hey, we're here.
We are live. Well, welcome to episode 10 of EdGeekCast, the web show for, by, and about geeks who teach. My name is Nancy Mangum. I'm a digital innovations coach at the Friday Institute. I'm a passionate educator, an energizer bunny, and a student of life. And guess what? I get to be your host tonight for this week's Back to School episode. Woohoo!
Woo!
As always, tonight I'm joined by my favorite super geeks and partners in crime. And I'll let them introduce themselves.
Well, hey everyone, I'm Lucas Gillespie. I am now the Director of Academic and Digital Learning for Surrey County Schools in Northwestern North Carolina. I'm a gamer, geek, and everything in between.
Yay, Lucas! I know, in his new role.
I'm in a new role, yes.
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk.
That's exciting. Well, I'm also in a new role. My name is Jennifer Lagarde. I'm the School Library Media Coordinator at New Hanover High School in Wilmington, North Carolina. But I'm coming to you tonight from Norfolk, Virginia, because I'm going to be visiting and working with some of the School Library Media Coordinators here in Virginia tonight. So still a troublemaker, though, no matter what title my name badge says.
That's right. Always a troublemaker. Both of you are. And, you know, it is very exciting. Both of you over the summer have had big changes. Mm-hmm. So I guess I'm the only constant in this group, which is a little scary. But, maybe. Somebody has to hold the status quo for a little while.
I know, for real.
You're a rock, Nancy.
Oh, no. I'm so excited for y'all to talk more about your new roles, and I know we'll get to that later on tonight. So I have a question for you all. Each week we ask our team and our guests, if we have any, a getting to know you question. And this week, let's see how much of an 80s geek you are. If you had a boombox and could squeeze one more 80s song onto the perfect mixtape, what would it be?
Go ahead, Lucas.
Knew you were going to call me first.
Well, I'll start if that's okay. Then I'll go ahead and
Sure.
start. I was trying to be polite, but manners, they don't fit me. So, manners are overrated. But I don't know. I love so much of the '80s and the music, especially. But I've got to say, I probably listen to more of what would have been like the '80s alternative music. And recently, when I've been heading back to '80sville, I haven't been able to get enough of the Talking Heads. And I don't know, the Talking Heads are super alternative, but they sort of blurred those lines. But I mean, every song is good, and they stand up to this day. They're still awesome. So I love me some Talking Heads, and probably Wildlife is probably my favorite.
That's a good song.
Yeah.
I love Burning Down the House by Talking Heads.
Oh, yeah.
That's my favorite.
Their videos are so 80s. Like, David Byrne always had the massive shoulder pads in his suits,
Same as it ever was.
Yeah.
Same as it ever
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So I loved them.
That's awesome. Okay. So I was just thinking, like, boombox on the shoulder, not rap type stuff, but like, what would you be blasting? Because I wasn't much into the rap scene. I think Jump, Van Halen from the 1984
that's a good one.
album.
There you go.
Yes. And what about Wham? Were we all Wham fans?
Yeah.
They were waking us up before a week ago.
Yeah, I was just going to sing it, but I didn't think all of our fans needed to hear that tonight. Oh, look at Lucas. He's like rocking it out here. Love it, getting the dance moves. I mean, I know there is so much 80s because we could go like the whole Prince, Michael Jackson route, right? I mean, then we have like Madonna and Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah.
And could you even put Debbie Gibson into that whole category?
Oh, wow. Wow.
I just pulled up.
I think Deborah.
I could have pegged that. I would have said, what Nancy Mangum list? Debbie Gibson would definitely be in the top of that.
Oh, yeah, it was definitely on there.
But then we could go New Order, right? And I think like New Order, I mean, I might have to go with New Order.
Oh my gosh. I gotta tell you, I was so in love with The Cure in the 80s. The Cure, New Order, Depeche Mode. I love that.
Depeche Mode, yes. I mean, there's so much great 80s. And then you could go like the whole like Salt and Pepper route.
That's true.
Right? In the 80s.
There, get your boombox out.
Yeah, right?
My husband does a great impression of a Depeche Mode concert. You want to see it?
Yeah.
Yes, is he there?
No, but I know it by heart because he jokes every time I try to play it. Ready?
Yeah.
Play. That's it. It's all electronic, and they don't play any instruments. It's just
Nice.
all music on.
Play. Nice.
That
Yeah, I mean,
works.
is that kind of like Milli Vanilli was my first concert? Should I even admit that on EdGeekCast?
Nancy,
No, you
that's
should.
awesome.
That is
awesome.
awesome, really. You went to a concert where, like, it was, wow, it's completely fake.
Nancy's first concert was to a band that didn't actually sing.
What does that mean? That means something, Nancy. I would be worried.
All right. Well, any of our
know.
fans out there, if we would love to hear what your favorite '80s song was, say just hashtag EdGeekCast, hashtag EdGeekCast, and let's see what your favorite '80s. And please don't hold it against me that was my first concert.
No,
Yes,
I
out
you
to
haven't picked one, have you? Has she picked one, Jennifer?
I think I said New Order. What was my favorite band? But okay, so if I had to pick one song, REM probably. REM and End of the World. You know, yeah, I loved REM.
Me too. I still love them. Again, a lot of their music holds up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I just went from, I took us from Prince to Milli Vanilli to
REM, which is kind of a really cool transition.
I know, I worked that whole thing in.
Great mixtape.
I mean, that would be a good mixtape. We could have a whole show about 80s music.
We should do an EdGeekCast Spotify playlist.
Our fans would love it.
You know what? I'm glad that you all finally. I think you all like, what's Spotify?
Uh-oh, I think we have a delay.
Yeah. Oh,
Lucas, are you still with us?
I am here. I am here.
I think Jennifer was just trying to give us a hard time about not knowing what Spotify was.
Oh, she's coming back. She's going to set the record straight.
Oh, yeah, let's see. Okay, so let's see, Jennifer. You might have to go video list for a little bit. Cut off your video feed, but I think she's just giving us... Jennifer, were you just giving us a hard time about Spotify?
Yes.
What? Like, and I think you went blank right there. I think, like, Lucas tried to cut the feed on you.
I was giving you a hard time because I tried to get you all to do like an EdGeek Spotify playlist a long time ago, and you ignored me. And now it's like the greatest thing ever.
All right, fine. Okay, we're on board now. EdGeekCast Spotify, and if for our listeners out there, if you want to add your favorite, let us know. Hashtag EdGeekCast, and we will add it to our EdGeekCast Spotify 80s playlist.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
All right, we'll share it out. Awesome. Okay, so now that we have that straight, and now that we all know that Jennifer, Lucas, and I are not against Spotify. In fact, we're fans, okay, and we're on board with you.
I'm a paying premium member.
Me too.
I mean, here we go. So we're all good. But I have a question for y'all because we've been talking about 80s music. But when we think back to 80s, because we were all in school during the 80s, and I think back, you know, as I'm in schools and as I'm, you know, walking around, I think, what was my schooling like? And I'm just curious to know, do you all have a favorite school memory or a favorite teacher?
Oh gosh, Lucas, I'm gonna really make you go first this time.
Okay, I'll go first. I had a lot of favorite teachers. I had a lot of good teachers. So I'm going to go way back in the 80s and go back to my elementary days. And I would say Miss Lowe, who was my, I guess what they would call AIG specialist teacher, whatever, at the time. I'm not sure what they called him. But anyway, we would, a group of students, we would go to her class. And the cool thing is that her class is what every class really should be. in my opinion. I mean, the classroom as a space was like fully awesome. She had aquariums and she had terrariums, and there was always something to look at, explore. Always all this cool stuff going on. She also had one of the few computers in the school, I think an Apple IIe, and I'm pretty sure that's where I spent a lot of time playing Math Blaster and Oregon Trail.
Oh, nice.
Getting
Oregon
dysentery.
Trail. Love it.
Yeah, dysentery like crazy. But anyway, um, but that's where I learned what dysentery was. So, yeah, it was really her class was awesome, and I really looked forward to going to it every day because I don't. It's like I don't remember specific lesson-y sorts of kinds of things that were very like what I would think of as traditional school-like, but I know I was learning in that space all the time, and I was having a lot of rich experiences, and that's, like I said, I think every classroom could be that way and should be that way. So that was one of my favorite, amongst many.
I think you're right. I think that those our most memorable experiences are those that, where we were doing hands-on things, and like you said, all of our classrooms, we would hope, would resemble that in some way, where we're helping our students make connections, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then and they'll remember those things for a long time. Jennifer, are you making the Spotify playlist right now, or are you?
No, I'm listening intently to your stories. I'm always envious of those stories because I moved around a lot as a kid and didn't stay in any one school for very long. I didn't go to the same school for an entire school year until I was in the 8th grade. And prior to that point, my brother and I counted it up one time, and we had been to 26 different schools.
Oh, wow.
Prior to that. And I don't have a lot of memories of those experiences being bad. I just don't have a lot of memories of them being good either. I just don't have a lot of memories of them, period. But I was really fortunate to have a couple really great teachers in high school because, as you might imagine, by the time I got to high school, I was very, very far behind and didn't have a lot of the basic skills that I needed. I'd managed to be passed along, but that was because I didn't cause any trouble, or at least none that they knew of. So
I was just going to say, I can't imagine that, Jennifer.
I was really quiet. I was very shy. I never said anything to anyone because I was the new kid always. But I got into trouble under the radar. But at any rate, in high school, I had a couple of teachers who really took an interest in me, but it's funny just this week we were talking about, because when Robin Williams died, a lot of people were talking about Dead Poets Society and how for a lot of teachers that was a movie that really meant a lot to them,
Right.
And several other films anyway, but we were just talking about how teachers who are super passionate about what they teach and who love it so much, you can tell, right? And that passion, it gets you excited too. And so I've been thinking a lot this week about my high school chemistry teacher. His name was Jay Elder. And he just would jump up on top of the lab tables, and I can remember him being so excited to tell us what a supernova was and taking us outside to point at the sky. And I mean, we were just so excited. It didn't matter what he was talking about. It seemed like the most awesome thing in the universe when he said it. So,
hey, I think you hit on some key things there. You were moving. He actually had you get up, Jennifer?
I know, crazy, right? Crazy stuff. But yeah, so I think those teachers who are really excited about what they're doing and they go in just, on fire with a passion for it, I think that really helps sparks that same passion for learning in their kids.
Yeah. So just really quickly, I'll tell you mine because I know everybody's on the edge of their seat waiting to know. I'm just kidding. But I had some interesting, I have some interesting memories that I won't bring up because they aren't always positive. Maybe kind of a little bit like you, Jennifer. But one of the things I remember the most, so elementary school, I loved it. We did a play every year, and so just like being able to do that, that play, we practiced and we rehearsed, and I mean, I can tell you who I was in every play from kindergarten through 5th grade, my character. I don't know if I remember my lines, but I probably could sing a song or do a dance. No, I'm just kidding.
I would like to do
Future
that.
episode.
Yes, there you go. There are future episodes. Stay tuned. But so, I mean, I just remember those experiences, and we also learned a patriotic song every month that we like sang, like, and so I just remember those like very vividly. Could sing all those songs now. But in high school, I had a teacher maybe similar to yours, Jennifer, and to yours, Lucas, that was just so energetic and passionate, Mr. Biddle, and he was my English teacher, and he used to always, like, he would come up with mnemonic devices. It was 11th grade English, you know, you take getting ready for the SAT or taking the SAT that year, or maybe it was 10. Yeah, it was 11th grade, and but so he was like really big into vocabulary and like helping us expand our vocabulary and always making mnemonic devices and for words, and just his passion for not only for what he was teaching us, but for us. You know, he truly cared about us, and so I think that was really evident, and that definitely stuck with me too. But you know, I will say that I think just like also seeing my mom was a teacher, and so like seeing her passion and watching her, like, I think that also was a really great, like, kind of pushed me into this realm. So thanks, Mom.
Aww.
You know, I just had to throw that.
Sweet.
So we talk about passion because I know we've seen, and we've been around the summer. Like, I think the three of us, we've traveled a lot and done, seen a lot of great things and met a lot of great people. And so I'm curious to know, as we move into EduAwesome, what EduAwesome things have you seen this summer, and what things have inspired you? We kind of talked about our past, but let's talk about what we've seen just recently.
Well, just recently, one thing that, and this is not a specific pedagogy or anything like that, and maybe I'll add more to that in a minute, but recently I've been going to a number of different schools, and this is before school has even started, and I have just been so amazed by the sheer number of teachers I have seen in schools this summer not getting paid. They're planning lessons, setting up their rooms, getting kids scheduled, doing the extra work it takes to make sure that those first few days of school are really perfect, and all just because they know their kids need it. They want to do it, not because you know, they don't get paid for it. So I've really been, I don't know. I mean, that happens every year, but I've been rocking up at several schools, and the parking lots are full weeks before school even starts. And my hat's off to those teachers who are putting in the extra time for their kids. It's really amazing.
I agree. It always bothers me whenever I hear anyone say, "Oh, teachers don't get paid a lot because you only work 10 months, you know, or you have 2 months off." That's just really, we don't even need to go there. We need to keep it positive, right?
Right.
But,
right.
I agree. Awesome. Lots of people doing work, and I know, Jennifer, you've been doing a lot of work on your new life. Do you want to talk about your new school and some of the plans that you have?
We were going to keep it positive. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
Jennifer!
It is positive because you're there.
That was joke. I was a joke. It was a joke. I want to say something about somebody else first before I talk about my own school, and then I'm going to let Lucas chime in.
Oh, yes, yeah.
My friend Emily Swenson, she is she's an elementary school teacher in Louisiana, and she was put into, her principal last year said, let me back it up for just a second. Emily's always been a third grade teacher. And so this last year, her principal said, I want to start this new, special elective class that's nothing but hands-on discovery, inquiry, learning. And I don't know what to call it. I don't know what to make the curriculum. I want the focus to be on science and literacy, but I want you to do it. You can do anything you want. So that's kind of like crazy cool, but also crazy scary as well. Yeah. And Emily has just blown the lid off of that stuff. I mean, she sends me pictures and videos of what's going on in her class just about every single day. And what I love, love, love about her, and I think we could all take a lesson from this, is that she is so willing to try anything with her students. And things have not always gone perfectly these first few weeks of school. Like wanted to do you guys have heard that you can like walk on eggs, right? Like if you put an egg a certain way because of the way the pressure is distributed, you could walk on a dozen eggs and they won't break. Have y'all heard that before?
No.
Okay, well, I've heard that before. And Emily, she bought all these eggs, and she had her kids walking on them, and they worked. It worked out well. Everything went fine. And then a kid said, Miss Swenson, show me again how to do that. And so she picked up the egg, and when she did, she held it the wrong way, and the egg goo, like, splattered everywhere, and it was, like, all over this kid and everything else. There was just egg everywhere, egg on her face, literally, figuratively, the whole bit. And Emily's just like, okay, well, this is a great example of how you don't, she just rolls with it, and I just love her. She's willing to just take a risk and try it, without being afraid of something going wrong. And I just feel like we all could do that a little bit, The stakes are high for teachers, and so sometimes we don't take chances with our kids so much. We go with what we know is going to have results, or we think or we've been told will. And so I've really been inspired by her risk-taking this summer and the beginning of the school year. So
that's awesome. And so Emily, what is Emily's Twitter handle?
It's EM_Swenson. She's amazing. I really love her.
All right, so we'll have to give a shout out to Emily Swenson, and we'll do that.
She's brave.
Via Twitter. That's awesome.
I love her.
Lucas.
Yeah.
What have you seen awesome over the summer?
Well, it's been a lot. I've seen lots and lots of cool things. So I'll narrow it down to I chose one thing, and this relates to my new role in Surrey County Schools, and it's just a good example. Surrey County Schools recently released a video. They put together this amazing video called "We Are Surrey County Schools," and the team that put it together, I know Sonia Dickerson, who is sort of our PR communications person, and some other folks, put together this amazing video where they went out and videoed like just tons of great stuff going on in the district. Science Olympiad teams, Battle of the Books teams, teams of sports teams, and academic teams, the robotics league, and all these other like amazing things going on in the district, and just got footage of them in action, and these kids on the screen talking about that we are Surrey County Schools, that they do all these things, and that's part of who we are. And I think the thing that, one, aside from just the overall quality of it, that it's just like it's like gets me all pumped up, and I'm like ready, like, yeah, let's go, aside from that is that it's timely, and every school district should do, or every school, or even every teacher should do something like this and put it out right now. And the reason I say that is because we're living at a time, especially in North Carolina, where other people are telling our story for us, and it's kind of a negative, gloomy kind of story, especially what's coming out of in the media and in the political scene. And this is just, to me, this was like the opposite of that. It was the best pushback, and it wasn't even political. It was just like, look at all these great things that teachers and students are doing here in Surrey County, and I'm sure these kinds of things are going on in other school systems as well. So
that's such a great idea, Lucas. Will you share the link?
I sure will.
Will you share it on Twitter too?
Yeah.
And you're right. We need to be sharing our story, and I think that's great that Surrey County is doing that. And by the way, Surrey County, for those of you who aren't familiar with North Carolina, Lucas has moved from the coast now to the mountains.
That's right.
So we now actually kind of cover almost the whole state of North Carolina with Lucas. At the, what do you call it? The foothills, kind of the
foothills, northwest.
Foothills, northwestern North Carolina,
yeah.
And then I'm kind of in the Piedmont or the central North Carolina in Raleigh, and then Jennifer down at the coast, still in Wilmington. So
there we go.
North Carolina covered.
We got it.
But worldwide through the inner tubes.
Global.
There you go.
I think that telling your story, like you said, is not only like super empowering. I feel like it is, because it gives you a chance to sort of combat the negativity that's out there in a really positive way. But if you commit to that in some way, like, you have a YouTube channel for your school, or you have a blog for your class, or whatever. You commit to some way where you're going to tell your story. I think it forces you to look for the good each day and each week, because you have committed to, I'm going to tell this story, and of course, you don't want to tell a sad story. You want to tell a positive one that reflects the great thing that's going on in your classroom, in your school. So doing that sort of puts you in a position where, okay, I really need to look for the good. Even on the toughest days, you have to look for the good stuff.
Absolutely.
So true. I love it. It gives you a reason to look for the good.
Yes.
Nice. Well, mine is kind of similar to yours, Jennifer, in that just I've had the awesome opportunity this summer just to work with educators across the state of North Carolina, from all the way in the far west North Carolina to in Clay County and Cherokee and Swain and Jackson to eastern North Carolina, and just seeing the passion and the enthusiasm of these educators, even during tough times when things are kind of we're struggling here in the state of North Carolina, just with the press and some of the things that are politically happening, but just to see their passion and their commitment and their excitement for learning and coming in on their own time, and it's just really has been really inspiring. And so I'm excited to. I mean, it helps to re-energize me to see that and to see them. But a shout out to a friend of the show, but also Chris Tuttle, who I hope we're going to have Chris on the show coming up soon, because Chris is doing some awesome things just in general in her media center, but also with coding with elementary students. So I think hopefully we'll have Chris on in the next few episodes. But to Chris and to all of my awesome teachers at Bug Elementary School, they have a new principal, which is great. We're excited that Michael has moved on to do other things, but transition's always hard, and there are just a lot of awesome educators there doing great things, and I love going there. I call it my happy place. And so to Chris and to all the great educators at the awesome teachers at Bug.
That's really neat.
Yay.
Hey, can I share one more thing that isn't as EduAwesome kind of in a way, but I don't know if you guys, I think I shared it with you, the video of Tim Harris, and he's a guy with Down syndrome in Albuquerque, New Mexico, who owns his own restaurant called Tim's Place, and they serve breakfast, lunch, and hugs. So I'm real excited. I want to go there someday. But Tim has this restaurant, and there's this YouTube video, and I'll share it on YouTube. I've shared it a million times, where he talks about how excited he is to go to work every day. And the video starts out with him getting up in the morning and getting dressed, and he does what he calls a dance-off of magic in the parking lot every single day of his restaurant. And that video is delightful. I mean, I am straight up in love with Tim Harris. I absolutely love him. And every time I watch it, I laugh and I get teary, and I really have been thinking about, like, what are the ways that teachers could harness that joy of the first few days of school and to make them want to do a dance-off of magic in the parking lot. Like, what would need to happen to make teachers feel that excited that every day, not just on the first day, but every day of the year, And so I've been trying to think about that, about ways for teachers to sort of harness that joy and hang on to that power. But I want to give a quick shout-out to my friend Michael Donnelly, and he's on Twitter at Mr. Donnelly, Mr. Donnelly 3 on Twitter, because he has, for the last couple of weeks before school even started, and today was only his first day with kids. He's in Navasota, Texas, has been doing a dance-off of magic every day in his parking lot and filming it and putting it on YouTube. And it is the happiest part of my day, I've got to tell you, is watching Mr. Donnelly. So I'm on this mission.
Mr. Donnelly 3.
Mr. Donnelly 3 on Twitter. He does a dance-off of magic every single morning.
I love it. Donnelly?
Yes, Donnelly. And today's really touched my heart, because he got there when he's doing the dance-off of magic in the parking lot. It's pitch black out. He's getting there when it's still dark, before the kids, and he's dancing in the parking lot because he's so excited to see them on the first day of school.
That is awesome.
I just really want this to happen, and he's been tagging them hashtag DOM, Dance of Magic, and I just want to see teachers dancing in the parking lot because they're so excited to go to school every day, you know. So I feel like Michael's starting this trend. We need to get it going. We need to see more teachers dancing in the parking lot. So Lucas, that's the next Surrey County Schools video. Okay?
There you go, the Dance of Magic.
Soon. Soon.
You got to watch that video. It's great.
All right, I'm putting it in I'm tweeting it out there, and a big shout out to Mr. Donnelly for his Dance of Magic trend-setting ways.
Yes, yes.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, I mean, we need to do a Dance of Magic. Okay.
Yes.
All right, there we go.
Future
challenge
show.
you all.
Challenge accepted.
That is awesome. And Jennifer, I know I've seen that video, but I want to see it again. I want to watch it again. I need to watch it.
Oh, it makes me so happy every time I see it.
That's awesome. Okay, so let's move on to our tool belt section. Okay. We've had some great EduAwesomes. Anybody want to start with one of the tools?
Sure, I'll go ahead. I've just been working with a tool with my good friend Ryan, who's a math teacher here in Wilmington. She's ared21 on Twitter. She has moved to a new role this year too at a different school, and she's gone to a school that has a lot more limited technology than what she's used to. So we spent the weekend playing around with a tool called Plickers, Plickers. And I got to tell you, I'm really excited about Plickers because basically what they are, they're just laminated cards that you can download for free from the internet, print them out yourself and laminate them, or you can order a set of them yourself. I think the set is like $5.99, so they're really, really inexpensive. But essentially, as the teacher, you download an app on your smart device, and you give the kids each one of these cards, and as you ask a question that has a multiple choice answer, the kids can just hold up the card, and on your iDevice you scan and it will record each child's response. And there's a little bit of pre-work to be done in the sense that you load your class, you assign each child a certain card number, but then on the back end, as the teacher, you get the report. Okay, well, how many of these questions did Nancy get right? How many did they get wrong? Which answer was answered the most in this particular question, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not a replacement to me for like a lot of the great formative assessment tools out there like Socrative or Kahooted or some of those other really great ones. But for a school where every child doesn't have a device, or in some schools where no kids have devices, is a great way for you to kind of harness that formative assessment piece that is so powerful with technology. So with Ryan, she's going into a school where it's BYOD, so some kids will have devices and some won't, and she wants to be able to let all kids participate in formative assessment. So she's real excited about it, and I am too. So that's a tool I'm real excited about, especially for those schools where not everybody has a device.
I agree with you, Jennifer. I saw Plickers, I think it was last year at ISTE. I think the developer was there in the Bloggers Cafe and got to see that. And I think it really does have a lot of potential, like you said, in those classrooms where we don't have a lot of technology. I think it can be a great tool. So love that Ryan's using that, and love to hear what she thinks of it as she digs a little deper into it. But very cool.
That was cool. That was really cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go with one, and then Jennifer, if you have another one, you can come back. And it made me think of this when you all were talking about sharing your story. Adobe Voice. Have you all seen Adobe Voice?
I haven't used it.
I haven't used it yet.
It's a great app for the iPad, and it allows you to use still images and add your voice, and you can create a really kind of you can also add text, and it creates a really polished product. It's very easy to use. I love that you can go back and you don't have to narrate all of your pictures at once. So you narrate it image by image. And so if you want to go back later in the week or later on and add more to it, you can do that. And it just really creates a really nice video product, and it gives you a URL to that video at the end. You can add some fun music, So it's just a great. I think it's it's a little bit. I like 30 hands, and I think I talked about 30 hands before, where you can use still images and add picture. Add your voice to those pictures, but this gives you, like, it's a step up from 30 hands. Like it adds some really nice transitions and gives you some different themes. It's a great tool. You definitely want to check it out. And I love my friend Tim Lauer, who's a principal up in Oregon. Tim uses Adobe Voice. I'll add the link to one of his examples, but he is a principal and he does a weekly postcard, an audio postcard. Instead of a newsletter, he does a postcard, and I think he does it every week, and he's been using Adobe Voice for that. And so he has like things that are happening in the school, whether it's fundraisers, things that are like weekly events that are coming up at the school, as well as things that have gone on. So he's looking for the great things that are happening. He's sharing them with his community and using Adobe Voice to do it.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Very easy to use. I think even our youngest learners could use it. So.
That sounds sweet.
All right. I have a few others, but I'll let Lucas go. I don't want to steal the show.
Okay, so I've got a couple here. The first one I'll share is it's called Twitter Archiver. So today, one of my challenges was to figure out a way to capture all of the activity around a particular hashtag. One of the cool things that I kind of got to be the cheerleader for when I came into this role here in Surrey County a few weeks ago was really encouraging our school leaders and district leaders to really plug in and get involved in social media, especially through Twitter and things like that. And so no easier way to do that than to come up with a common hashtag. So from here on out, when I'm sharing resources, you'll see me throwing in the SCS Ed hashtag into when I'm sharing resources, education resources on Twitter. So one of the things that we also did when we were kind of introducing this to our principals at our last leadership meeting was to say, okay, anybody who tweets 10 or more resources, quotes, ideas, thoughts, whatever, anything worthwhile, that we will enter you into a drawing for a prize. So then all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, how are we going to capture this information? So I've been digging because Twitter has shut down their API stuff so that you can't generate or at least it doesn't anymore, generate an RSS style feed from your Twitter stream. So people have found some really clever workarounds, and this Twitter Archiver tool is one of those. And what it does, you basically go in and you're creating your own little custom tool in Twitter and then linking it back to a Google spreadsheet with an API key and all this stuff. And I don't really know what all this stuff is. I just copy and paste and follow directions, and it worked. So basically now I have a spreadsheet in Google Docs that anytime somebody puts SCS Ed in their tweet as a hashtag, it's captured, and I get a column for when it was posted, the link to the person who presented it or shared it, how many followers they have, how many people they're following, whether it was a retweet or not, and that kind of stuff, and a link to and what the actual post was about. Really cool. So you could do some really cool stuff then, with all the data that you're gathering too. Just looking at how much impact and what the reach is of your hashtag. So kind of cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. So there's a free version out there. There's a paid version as well. I don't think it's very expensive if you want to do a little more with it. But for now, like with what we're doing with it, and considering our size and scope, the free option is working really well for us.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Lucas, do you have another one you want to share? Or?
Yeah, I'll share another one while I'm at it.
Okay. You're kind of on a roll, so I didn't.
Let's do it. So another one that I've been playing around with lately, and it's not new by any means, but it's something that's kind of cool. If you want to make some snazzy kind of pictures with typography and that kind of thing, but it's called Over, and it is an app out for iOS and Android, and basically it lets you create Instagram-style pictures, but then overlay fonts or typing or writing over it, which looks kind of trendy and neat and all that, and then you can save them or share them out through social media or whatever. So yeah, there's another one.
I love me some photo apps. That's
I do
neat.
too. They're like, it's like my favorite category. I have a huge
Yeah.
collection of them.
Okay, well, so since we're talking about that, have you all seen Heroized?
Mm-mm.
Hero,
Sounds
But
cool.
that sounds
IZED. So, I mean, we're all superheroes, right?
right.
Well, so Heroized allows you to create your own superhero avatar. And
Nice.
so, Jennifer, they're not as awesome as the avatars that you created for us, but it does allow you to quickly make one. Now, the one thing I will say is you can't change skin tone on it. So that's kind of a bummer, but you can, it does allow you to put your name in and to change a few things. So Heroized. And shout out to Jackie Stevens and Lisa Hervey who shared that one with me just today about how to make your own hero avatar. So
That's cool. I'm gonna check that out.
yes, very cool. And again, by the way, if you want to check out all of these, they will all be in our show notes. We're trying to post them to Twitter as well, but they'll all be in our show notes at edgeekcast.com.
Yep.
I like how you say we, but really you're doing all the work, Nancy. Or maybe you are too, Lucas, but I'm just sitting here just letting it all happen around me.
You've been driving. You get it. You get an. That's an.
That's what team is for.
That's right.
Let me share one other tool that's been really useful to me the last few weeks. Just going back to my story about how we would get teachers to do a dance-off of magic in the parking lot, I did a webinar this last week called 27 Ways to Make This the Best Year Ever, and I created an infographic with 27 ways. I wanted to get advice from people as to how to help teachers harness this joy. And so by far, the tool that I use the most to capture those ideas and those tips was Voxer. And Nancy, you tried to make me join Voxer a long, long time ago, and I was resistant. And then I finally got on board, and I'm going to tell you, it has proven to be like my number 2 go-to tool for my PLN. I'm connected to so many people in groups, library groups, principal groups, et cetera, groups of people who I know on Twitter, but now I get to hear their voice.
Yeah.
And like when I ask a question, like what advice would you give? And we're all in this group and they're all sharing these ideas. I just love it. I love it so much. It really was powerful for me these last few weeks as I collected those thoughts. It was so much easier really for me than Twitter because people got more than 140 characters. They could really explain. I could hear the excitement in their voices. They talked about it, and then it was all archived, so it was just easy for me to go back and collect those. Plus, this being the first couple weeks of school back, and it's been a transition for me to go from a statewide role back to a school role, I have very much, as you both know, used Voxer to share my feelings about this transition on a daily basis, not just with you guys, but with lots of people. And so, it's one more tool for people who want to get connected. It really has proven to be powerful for me. So I love it, and I often call it Vortex on accident, but I don't care. It's still one of my favorites.
Yes, I agree with you. Voxer is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is cool.
And I'm with you. I like to be able to hear people's voice. And it also helps as I'm driving around from place to place. Don't text and drive. So.
Right.
Box and drive.
Yes, box and drive. There you go. Lucas, do you have another one that you want to share with us?
Well, I do. It's not necessarily education related, but I think it showcases a technology that could have a lot of educational potential, and it's a lot of fun. It's a game. Imagine that coming from me.
Yeah,
it's a game called Ingress. This is actually a game that was designed by Google, and it's put out by them, and it's been available for Android for some time now, and I've been following. I even got an invite, but I'm like, I don't have an Android device. I can't do anything with it. So it's finally it's open now, and it's also now available for iOS. So what is Ingress? Ingress is a augmented reality game, and you actually play it in the real world. And the cool thing about it is basically the general idea is that you join one of two sides. There's two factions across the globe. I'm talking this game is played everywhere. And so you join one of two factions that are competing against each other. And what you do is you go out in real spaces and you capture these control points. Now, control points, you can't see them, in the real world, but you can see them with your phone through your scanner, which is GPS enabled. So it takes in location data and then the game data and merges it into a sort of a GPS-looking kind of screen. But the cool thing is, one of the things that's great about this game is, one, it really gives you an opportunity to get out and about, like physically moving around. So that's where you're going to be playing at your best, is when you're in a public space, because the control points are usually centered around works of art in public spaces, points of interest, historical locations, etc. And so you might go into, like even here in the town that I'm in now, around the courthouse, there are, I think, 5 control points that are all memorials, historical markers, etc. And so my wife and I went out and got some exercise. So we walked around the courthouse 3 or 4 times, kind of moving around, capturing, or not really didn't capture anything. The enemy controls it right now, but not for long. But going around and kind of collecting resources and items from these control points around. And then eventually, once you kind of gather up stuff, you can launch an attack and take over things. And it's really fun. There's a chat thing, and it's amazing. I've had some really interesting encounters, just run into people and strike up a conversation like, oh, well, you're that person, and you're playing too. And, it's really cool. But, yeah, definitely check it out. It's called Ingress. Go Resistance. Okay, anyway.
Nice.
It reminds me, it's like geocaching meets Age of Empires.
Yes. Yes, very much so. Very much so.
That sounds cool. That sounds really, really neat.
You should play it. It's fun.
I think I need to.
I'm telling you, downtown Wilmington is covered up with control points. And Elizabeth and I, my wife, we were down, one of the last weekends that we were down there, we went downtown. And so we had a little time. We were meeting a couple for dinner, and so we were like, well, let's play a little bit. Let's walk around. And so we're kind of navigating toward a control point and went down an alley that was near the community college down there and found this really cool fountain that I've never seen this before in my life. I didn't even know it was there. And it had like dolphins and stuff in it. And it was a control point. So we captured the control point. Then we just sat and were like, oh, this is really neat. Look at this space. What a cool place. So yeah, that's the cool thing about it. It makes you pay attention to things that you kind of take for granted.
Especially places that that you walk by often or that you go by often.
That's cool. Let's see. It's called Ingress?
Ingress. Ingress. And it will be linked in the show notes.
Yes. I like it.
Nice. Awesome. Well, anybody else have any other tools that you want to add?
I think I'm out of tools today.
I know, the tool belt is emptied. Well, thanks so much for, I think that's going to wrap up our show for tonight. Our back to school episode, we just kind of wanted to let you know about the new things that were happening in our lives and the big changes, but also to let you know about, we were excited to share about the things that we had seen over the summer, as well as some new tools. Actually, our next episode will be September the 8th, and I think we're going to have some special guests, so we're excited to share more information about that coming soon. But September 8th, so we'll give you a couple weeks off, because we know, we can be a lot. And you've had a little break from us for a while, so you might need a couple weeks to catch up. But
we can be a lot.
We can.
We need that on. We need new lower thirds.
We can be a lot.
EdGeekCast. We can be a lot.
But we will be back.
Tweeting that now.
So much.
We're gonna have a regular. See what happens when you all let me drive. Like, I'm supposed to be the color commentary, right? Not
doing the best adventures when you drive, Nancy.
Oh yes. Okay. Well, good. Jennifer, thank you. You always make me feel good. That's really why we do this show, right? I just want to hang out with you. But no, we will be back September 8th, and we're going to have a regular scheduled show every other Monday.
I know.
We are very excited about that. So follow us at EdGeekCast, or you can catch us on using our Twitter hashtag EdGeekCast.
Yep.
And all the show notes, where are they going to be, Jennifer?
EdGeekCast.com.
Yes.
Woo-hoo! Awesome. Well, we'll have a little bit more energy on the 8th. We need to rest up for that. We're a little run down with the start of school, but we're excited, and we hope that if you've already started school, that the school year is going great, and if you haven't started, we're excited to be here with you and hopefully give you a few new things every other week that will make the school year awesome for you.
Yes.
All right. So have a great night, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Bye, guys.
Good night.